By age 65, almost 50% of people have significant gray hair. But here is what most do not know. Gray hair is not random. It is a signal your body is sending. In the next few minutes, you will discover why your hair is graying, what one nutrient plays a surprisingly important role, and what research actually says you can do about it. Not tomorrow, but starting today. Let us start by understanding what is actually happening in your hair when it grays. Most people treat gray hair as a cosmetic problem. But your hair is actually a window into what is happening at the cellular level. Gray hair is visible and obvious. What is happening inside your follicles is what really matters. Hair pigment loss can signal underlying nutritional shifts or cellular changes that deserve your attention. Understanding the why helps you make informed choices about your health, not just your appearance. Because your hair does not exist in isolation. It reflects the state of your entire body. Research suggests that how quickly your hair grays is connected to nutrition, stress, sleep, and lifestyle factors that influence your overall wellness. Most people do not realize this. They assume gray hair is purely genetic. And while genetics do play a major role, they are not the whole story. By understanding what causes gray hair, you gain insight into your own health. You learn what your body might be asking for. And you can make choices that benefit not just your appearance, but your well-being. Now let us understand the problem more deeply. Hair gets its color from melanin. Melanin is produced by cells called melanocytes living in the root of every hair. These melanocytes are tiny factories. They work every single day to create the pigment that colors your hair. Throughout your life, these cells are active and working. But as you age, something changes. They produce less pigment, or they stop working altogether. This is not a disease. This is not a failure of your body. It is a normal part of aging. But the rate at which this happens varies tremendously from person to person. Some people have abundant gray hair by 50. Others remain mostly pigmented into their 80s. Why the difference? Genetics play a major role. You largely inherit the timeline from your parents and grandparents. If your mother grayed early, you probably will too. But genetics are not destiny. Environmental factors and lifestyle do influence the process. This is where the conversation gets interesting. Because it means you have some agency here. To understand why graying happens, we need to talk about the biology happening inside your hair follicles. This is where it gets fascinating. Inside every hair follicle, melanocytes rely on an enzyme called catalase. This enzyme has one crucial job. It balances hydrogen peroxide. Now, you may have heard of hydrogen peroxide. You probably have a bottle of it at home for cleaning. But your body produces hydrogen peroxide naturally. Every cell makes it as a byproduct of normal metabolism. This byproduct needs to be kept in check. If it accumulates, it causes oxidative stress. Oxidative stress is an imbalance in the cell. Too many unstable molecules, not enough antioxidants to neutralize them. In your hair follicles, the enzyme catalase is supposed to keep hydrogen peroxide under control. It converts hydrogen peroxide into water and oxygen, harmless substances. But as you age, catalase production can slow down. Hydrogen peroxide accumulates. This accumulation can overwhelm the melanocytes. It interferes with their ability to produce melanin. So the hair that grows out has less pigment. It appears gray. But here is the deeper part. This process is not random. Oxidative stress in the body accelerates this process. If your cells are dealing with high levels of oxidative stress from inflammation, poor sleep, chronic stress, or free radical exposure, the hair follicles feel it too. Genetic programming determines when your melanocytes retire. It determines the timeline. But lifestyle factors influence how fast that timeline moves. This is the critical insight. You cannot rewrite your genes. But you can influence how quickly or slowly you progress down that genetic pathway. This is when nutrition steps in. And this is where research gets really interesting. Scientists have noticed that certain nutrients are essential for the enzymes involved in hair pigmentation. One nutrient that keeps appearing in research is copper. Copper is a trace mineral. Your body needs only small amounts of it. But it is crucial. Copper is a cofactor for tyrosinase. Tyrosinase is the enzyme that actually produces melanin. Without adequate copper, tyrosinase cannot function optimally. Research suggests that adequate copper status may help support the body's ability to maintain melanin production as you age. But this is not the whole story. Vitamin B12 plays an important role too. Folate, another B vitamin, is also involved in melanocyte health. And then there are antioxidants. Vitamins C and E, selenium, and compounds in plant foods all help protect cells from oxidative stress. They help your body maintain that balance of hydrogen peroxide. What researchers have found is this. In some populations, people with deficiencies in these nutrients show signs of premature graying. And in some studies, when people supplement with these nutrients, they have seen improvements in hair pigmentation over time. But, and this is important, the research is mixed. Not everyone responds. Results vary from person to person. And the improvements, when they happen, take time. Months, sometimes a year, or more. This is why the language matters. Research suggests these nutrients may help support normal melanin production. This is not the same as saying they will reverse gray hair or guarantee results. It means they create conditions where your body can work optimally. That is all we can honestly say. So what can you actually do about this? Let us talk about daily habits. First, let us talk about nutrition. If you want to support your hair follicles, you need to make sure you are getting adequate copper and other relevant nutrients. Where do you find copper? Oysters and other shellfish are rich in copper. Cashews and other nuts and seeds contain copper. Mushrooms are a good source. So are chickpeas and legumes. Dark leafy greens like spinach and kale contain copper too. The good news is that copper-rich foods are also generally healthy foods. Eating them benefits your whole body, not just your hair. B12 is found in fish, eggs, cheese, and other animal products. If you are vegetarian or vegan, fortified grains and nutritional yeast are good plant-based sources. Folate is abundant in leafy greens, legumes, asparagus, and broccoli. Antioxidants are everywhere. Berries are packed with them. Dark chocolate contains them. Colorful vegetables like bell peppers, tomatoes, and carrots are rich in antioxidants. The pattern here is simple. Whole foods, especially plants and seafood, naturally contain the nutrients that support hair health. And again, eating these foods supports your entire body, not just your hair. But nutrition is not the only factor. Lifestyle matters just as much. Chronic stress increases oxidative stress in your body. Taking even 10 minutes a day to manage stress through meditation, deep breathing, or walking outside can have a meaningful impact on your cellular environment. Sleep is where your body repairs itself. Poor sleep increases inflammation and oxidative stress. If you are sleeping 5 or 6 hours a night, your hair follicles feel that. Aim for 7 to 9 hours. It is one of the most powerful things you can do for your health. Exercise also reduces oxidative stress. Movement helps regulate inflammation. It improves circulation. Better circulation means your hair follicles get better nutrient delivery. You do not need intense workouts. 30 minutes of brisk walking, gardening, swimming, or cycling most days of the week is enough. Sun protection matters too. UV exposure damages cells. It can accelerate melanocyte dysfunction. Wearing a hat or using sunscreen on your scalp is a simple way to protect your hair follicles from unnecessary damage. These are not just gray hair interventions. These are aging well interventions. They support your brain, your heart, your immune system, and yes, your hair too. Some people choose to supplement with copper or B vitamins. This is a personal choice. If you have blood work showing a deficiency, supplementation makes sense. But if you are supplementing without knowing your status, be careful. More is not better with minerals like copper. Excess copper can accumulate in your body and cause problems. Always talk to a healthcare provider before starting supplements. They can test your levels and advise you on what makes sense for your specific situation. And here is something important to remember about timelines. Hair grows about 6 inches per year. If your scalp produces new pigmented hair as a result of better nutrition and lifestyle, you will not see it at the root immediately. Pigmented growth at the roots takes months to become visible. Full transformation of your hair would take years because you have to wait for the new pigmented hair to grow out. This is why managing expectations is so important. If you start eating more oysters and sleeping better, you might notice that new hair growing in has more color. But if you expect gray hair to suddenly turn dark, you will be disappointed. That is not how hair biology works. Once hair grows in gray, it stays gray. What you can do is support the health of new hair growth. Now let me address some common mistakes I see people making. The first mistake is thinking that one nutrient is the cure. People read about copper and think copper is the answer. But gray hair is caused by multiple factors: genetics, age, oxidative stress, nutrition, stress, sleep, sun exposure. Copper is one piece, an important piece, but not the whole puzzle. Focusing on one nutrient while ignoring sleep, stress, or junk food will not give you the results you hope for. The second mistake is expecting overnight results. Your body does not work on Instagram timescales. You cannot see change in gray hair in 2 weeks. You need to commit to these habits for at least 3 to 6 months before you evaluate whether anything has shifted. If you are not willing to make a lifestyle commitment, supplementing with copper is probably a waste of money. The third mistake is ignoring genetics. If both your parents grayed by age 50, you probably will too. Lifestyle shifts might slow the timeline by a year or two, but they are not going to make a 50-year-old with gray-prone genetics look like they have the hair of a 40-year-old. This is just biology. Accepting this reality removes disappointment. The fourth mistake is overdosing on supplements. Some people think that if copper is helpful, taking double or triple the recommended amount is better. This is dangerous. Copper accumulates in the body. Too much copper can damage your liver and cause neurological problems. The recommended daily intake of copper for adults is 800 to 1000 micrograms per day. If you are supplementing, stick to those amounts. More is not better. More is actually harmful. The fifth mistake is assuming that gray hair means you are unhealthy. Gray hair is not a sign of poor health. It is a sign of having lived. Many very healthy people have abundant gray hair. Many unhealthy people have pigmented hair. Gray hair is simply a visible sign of aging. It does not tell you much about someone's actual health status. Do not let gray hair make you feel bad about yourself or your health. Let me separate some myths from facts so you have clarity on what research actually shows. Myth number 1 is that stress turns your hair gray overnight. The fact is this. Research suggests that chronic, long-time stress may accelerate graying through increased oxidative stress. But a single stressful event will not cause gray hair to appear in days or weeks. You cannot stress yourself into gray hair. But chronic stress over years and decades can accelerate the timeline. If you went through a really stressful period and suddenly noticed gray hair, it was probably beginning anyway. You just started noticing it more. Myth number 2 is that plucking one gray hair makes 2 grow back. The fact is simple. One hair follicle produces one hair. When you pluck that hair, you remove it temporarily. A new hair grows from the same follicle. But that new hair is still gray because the follicle is still not producing pigment. Plucking does not change the pigment status of the follicle. So no, you are not making gray hair spread by plucking. You are just removing hairs one at a time. Myth number 3 is that gray hair is weaker and requires special shampoos. The fact is that gray hair is structurally the same as pigmented hair. The strand itself is not weaker. However, gray hair often feels drier. This is not because it is gray. It is because as you age, your scalp produces less natural oil. The oil that keeps your hair moisturized is lower. So gray hair gets more attention for dryness simply because people have less oil on their scalp. The solution is good moisturizing products and treatments, not special gray hair shampoos. Myth number 4 is that you can revise gray hair to its original color through supplements or special treatments. The fact is this. Research suggests that certain nutrients may help support the condition of your hair follicles and the production of new hair. But once a hair grows in gray, it stays gray. A gray hair will not turn dark. What you can do is support the health of new hair growth coming from your follicles. If your follicles start producing pigment again because of improved nutrition and lifestyle, the new hair will be pigmented. But the old gray hair will still be gray. You would have to wait for new hair to grow out and old hair to shed. This is a years-long process, not a months-long one. So here are the essentials you need to remember. Number 1. Gray hair is a normal part of aging and genetics dictate most of the timeline. You cannot fight your genetics. But number 2, oxidative stress and nutrient status may influence the rate of graying. This is the actionable part. You can influence your nutrient status and your oxidative stress levels. Number 3. Copper, B vitamins, and antioxidants support hair follicle health. They are not cures, but they are worth including in your diet. Number 4. Lifestyle factors matter as much as nutrition. Sleep, stress management, exercise, and sun protection all influence how your body ages, including your hair. And number 5. If you notice rapid graying over a short period of time, it is worth checking with a healthcare provider. Rarely, vitamin deficiencies can accelerate graying. If you went from mostly pigmented hair to significantly gray hair in just a few months, get your blood work done. But in most cases, graying is just normal aging. Before you go, I want to leave you with one final thought. Gray hair gets a lot of attention. People write books about covering it, preventing it, embracing it. But here is the truth. Gray hair is a marker of time lived. It is a marker of experiences and resilience. Some of the most vibrant, healthy, powerful people I know have gray hair. They have chosen to embrace it because they are focused on something much bigger than hair color. They are focused on aging well, on living fully, on taking care of themselves not because they are trying to look 30, but because they desire to feel good. That is what this is really about. Yes, we talked about copper and nutrients and sleep. But underneath all of that is a deeper message. Take care of yourself, not because you are trying to erase aging, but because you desire to age well. Because every decade of life is a gift. And your body, your hair, your whole self deserves respect and care. The goal is not to fight aging. The goal is to age with vitality and grace and joy. If you found this helpful, I would love to have you subscribe. Subscribing ensures you do not miss our deep dives into nutrition, aging, healthy longevity, and the science of how your body actually works. We release new videos every week. Each one is designed to help you understand your health better and make choices that support your well-being. I also love reading comments. If you have had your own experience with gray hair, if you have noticed changes in your hair as you have aged, I would genuinely love to hear about it. Drop a comment below and tell me your story. Your experience matters, and your insights help other viewers who are going through similar things. If you have a friend or family member who has been obsessing over gray hair or worried about aging, send them this link. Sometimes the best thing we can do for the people we care about is give them information and perspective. Finally, check out our related video on how to support your skin health after age 50. Many of the same principles that support your hair support your skin too. Nutrition, sleep, stress management, sun protection. All of these work together to help you age well. Thank you so much for watching. I hope this gave you clarity on what is actually happening with your hair and what you can actually do about it. Take care of yourself, and I will see you in the next video.